You know you want to.
No, you do.
For centuries, an old, weather-beaten 15-foot statue of the Buddha stood in the courtyard of a temple in Bangkok, Thailand. The statue was made of stucco mixed with little pieces of colored glass, and it showed the Buddha with eyes open and a half smile on his face. Well, in 1957, the city fathers decided to build a highway right through that courtyard where the statue of the Buddha stood. A group of monks brought in heavy equipment to move the stucco Buddha to another location. But when the crane began to lift the giant statue, the weight was so great that the statue began to crack. And about that time, it also started to rain. Well, the senior monk had the statue lowered to the ground, and he covered it with a large canvas tarp to protect it. But then later that night, the senior monk checked on the Buddha by flashlight. As he peered under the canvas, he saw a gleam of metallic light. Mystified, he tapped at the stucco, and a piece broke off, revealing more glimmering surface. So he got a chisel and a hammer, and he spent the next few hours carefully breaking the crust off the ancient statue. By morning, he was face to face with a solid gold Buddha made of 5.5 tons of solid gold, 9.8 feet high when stood upright. Well, historians believe that several hundred years earlier, a group of monks in Thailand, which was then called Siam, that they had covered the precious golden Buddha with a thick covering of clay. When I say thick, I mean like a foot thick of clay, all over it to keep the Burmese invaders from stealing it. Unfortunately, the Burmese killed all the Siamese monks, and the golden Buddha remained a secret until its accidental discovery in the 1950s. Today, the golden Buddha is housed in Wat Trimit, known as the Golden Buddha Temple in Bangkok, and it looks like this. Its estimated value is $250 million. Well, that's impressive, isn't it? And oh my gosh, what a fabulous metaphor. Isn't that a wonderful metaphor for us? You can change it, Sandy. Because we all have a golden Buddha inside of us, whether we call it that or not. We might call it the Christ light, the divine presence, our true nature. Whatever we wish to call it, this divinity is within us. And it may get covered up. No matter how much it gets covered up, it is still there, just waiting to be discovered, which sometimes can require a little bit of excavation on our part, can't it? Yeah. You know, early in life, our divine light is obvious, right? We're all born pure and innocent. As little children, our inner radiance just shines forth so freely. That's why we love being around kids so much, right? It's just so beautiful, so radiant. But over the course of our lives, that inner light begins to get a little covered up, doesn't it? Yeah. Layer by layer, we ourselves begin spackling on the clay of all these false and limited ideas about who we are and what we are capable of. And then more layers and more clay get piled on by parents and teachers and bosses and friends and family who judge and label us. And if we internalize their opinions before long, our sense of ourself, our self-image, starts to harden. And before you know it, not only is our inner Christ, our golden Buddha, not shining through, we don't even know it's there. You see, we've forgotten who we truly are. Instead, we've come to identify with a false story that we've created about ourselves, a story that is largely based on our perceived flaws and limitations and shortcomings. Is it not true? So we all have this story, and the basic line, the basic framework of it is, these are the things that happened to me, or this is what I was told, and therefore this is who I am. You know, we all have stories about ourselves. Sometimes they are empowering and affirming. More often, unfortunately, they are limiting and restrictive. Our story may be one of physical or emotional abuse, or neglect, or abandonment. Our story may involve disability, or illness, or guilt over past mistakes. Many people have stories about being shamed or bullied, being subjected to racism or homophobia or other forms of prejudice, discrimination. You know, these hurts are real. They are real and they are heartbreaking. These things happened, but they are not who we are. They are not who we deeply and truly are. The true us is always untouched and unscathed, just like that golden Buddha in there. Always untouched and never diminishes in value. So consider this. Today I have brought with me a $20 bill. What is the value of this? This is not a trick question. What is the value of this? $20. Woo, great. What if I do this? What's it worth now? It's worth $20. What if I do this? What if I tear it a little bit and I spit on it and I really get into it and I'm doing like this?
Nothing.
What's it worth now? Oh yeah, it's still worth $20. What if we knew that this $20 bill had been used for some pretty terrible things? What if we knew that this $20 bill was part of a bribe to a politician? What if it was used to help buy a gun that killed someone? What if it was used to buy drugs that led to an overdose? What would this be worth? It's still worth $20. You know, if this $20 bill could talk, it would probably tell us that it isn't feeling very worthy, right? It might even say something to us like, you know, it's feeling rather dirty, broken, guilty, ashamed. Certainly isn't feeling very valuable. I mean, look at what's happened to it and how it's been used. But the fact is, even with all of that, this is still worth, it is still worth $20. Its intrinsic value has not diminished one whit. And the same is true for us. The same is true for us. No matter what we go through, our innate, our inherent value is there with us, just as that currency's value remains with it. Nothing can diminish it. Nothing can diminish the value of you as the spiritual being that you are. That part of you always remains untarnished and untouched. This is a huge realization for us. To realize that this is our intrinsic value and nothing, absolutely nothing, can take that away from us. And now I remember where I was. We are not defined by our past. And we are not defined by our circumstances. You see, we have problems, but we are not our problems. We have a story, but we are not our story. Who we are is this expansive life energy of God that is behind and within and through and surrounding all of it. This limitless God energy. We are that. We are that great I am presence that is just longing to express more fully through each of us, that is longing to break through the clay barriers, just like the golden Buddha, that in fact is yearning to be free. To be free. You know, this is a day when we're all about freedom, isn't it? We're thinking about freedom. 4th of July, Independence Day. This is our day to remember these beautiful founding principles of our country, to appreciate the wisdom and forethought of our founding fathers, because in this birth of a nation, they embedded everywhere this concept of freedom. First of all, freedom from England, but then in the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and the rights, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, and so many others, because they knew that freedom allows the best in us to come forth. Absolutely true, isn't it? Freedom. It releases our imprisoned splendor. Freedom unleashes the energy of spirit in us. And the same is true whether we're talking about external freedoms or we're talking about internal freedom. And of course, the internal freedom is our freedom to choose what we think and believe, to choose our perspective on life, and to choose our course in life, to set our intention and go about it. And we hold the keys to that freedom. Each and every one of us has the power to set ourselves free from the false and limiting beliefs that we have held about ourselves. Each of us has the ability to discover, rediscover this golden light, this spiritual essence of who we truly are, and to bring it forth, to let it be, to let it shine. And you know, this is a very good time in our lives and in our world to do this, particularly as we emerge from the relative dark cave of the pandemic, right? It's still new. We're still getting used to this. It's almost like we're rubbing our eyes, like getting used to the light again. Because in a sense, we have been walled off from each other. In a sense, we've been walled off from ourselves. You see, our view of life and our view of ourselves has become distorted. So some of us may still have this feeling of tentativeness or maybe not quite being ready to re-engage. And I get that. Absolutely get that. We may even be a little shy about being around other people. You know, this social awkwardness thing is a real thing. Like remembering how to converse and be polite and, you know, interact, right? But even while we have these lingering concerns, what we also feel, and I know this is true for each and every one of us, we feel this growing inner urge. We feel this calling, this desire, right, to get back in the flow of life, to reemerge, to be a part of it all, to expand rather than shrink, to set our spirits free. Oh, feel that desire. That is the energy of God wanting to express more fully in, through, and as us. So how do we do this? How do we step into a more expansive life? Well, Jesus told us how to do this. Very simple. He said the way to experience the kingdom of all good, all God, all freedom, all abundance, is to become like little children. You know, we say that with a little smile on our face because we love children, right? It sounds so simple. It sounds a little, almost elementary, right? But it's profound. It's profound, becoming like little children. To me, that means three things. And the first thing is to see through the eyes of a child, right? As we step into an expanded, freer self, freer life, to make a conscious choice to look around us with a sense of wonder and appreciation. You know, this is one of the things I truly love about this aftermath of the pandemic. Is it not so that everything that's back is so sweet? Like even looking at people's full faces, or the feeling of today, this freedom, our amazing celebration on Friday night, just so richly, deeply good. Yes, because we're appreciating it. We're seeing it with eyes of wonder. We can try to be, as Henry James once wrote, he said, try to be one of the people on whom nothing is lost. Try to be one of the people on whom nothing is lost. The second thing that we can do to become like little children is to take things one step at a time. First step being, with respect to the pandemic, get vaccinated. Please, get vaccinated. Protect yourself, protect others. Just had to throw that in there. But beyond that, for those of us already vaccinated or even beyond that, take things one step at a time. You set your intention and then you go about it, allowing God to be God in you, allowing God to unfold through you at the right and perfect pace. What that means is that you are purposeful, you are persistent, but you are also patient. My now 1-year-old granddaughter Maya has just begun walking. Right. Sweet. Anyway. And practicing walking is her daily project, right? She's getting a little steadier on her feet every day. She can walk a little bit farther every day, although still quite frequently she falls down on her little boom boom. I'm always so grateful she's got the diaper there to help cushion the fall. But she gets right back up immediately, not even the slightest bit of hesitation. She is on this. Her spirit is breaking free in a new way. You know, I just marvel at this inner urge that we see in children. We know it's in us too, but we really notice it, especially in the few first years of life, that all children have this God-given drive within them to continue to grow and learn and progress. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. We have that in us as well. You know, little Maya has this urge in her. She would never, of course, be able to articulate this, but she has this urge to stand confidently, to walk tall, to be ready to go out there and meet the world. And may I add that she intersperses that kind of focused attention with playtime and naps. We can learn a lot from our children. And the third way we can become like little children, so lovely, rediscovering joy. Rediscovering our joy. You know, sometimes that might mean actually going back and picking up an activity that we loved as a child. I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of us adults are playing games and doing puzzles on our devices. And also look at the popularity of coloring books for adults, right? Because it kind of rekindles an old joy. But even if it isn't that, even if it's something else for you, make time for the activities and the relationships that make your heart sing. Right? For me right now, what brings me joy, quite to my surprise / astonishment, is golf and cooking. Which is, anyone who knows me would be like, where's Paula? What'd you do with her? That's like not her. And a continuing love for bicycling, and of course my favorite thing, being with Richard. Because when we reconnect with that spark of joy in us, we are finding God. We are finding God. You know, it's a way of sort of connecting with our golden Buddha, if you will, that inner light within us and giving it more room to shine. Author Carolyn Tate writes, "The secret to finding our golden Buddha lies not in the future, but in our past. All we need to do is start chipping away at the clay and rediscovering those things we were passionate about as we grew up. We reconnect with why we first went into our profession or that job we really, really loved. We recall the times where we were in flow and time stood still. We chip away at our clay with a therapist or a trusted advisor. We get curious and we do something. Action always precedes clarity, she writes. Action reveals the golden Buddha. If that monk had not chipped away that clay, guess what, right? Action reveals our inner divinity. So today, Independence Day, is a perfect day for each and all of us to go about setting ourselves free. So I invite you, whatever's been holding you back, Whatever's been limiting you or blocking your light, today to make a conscious effort to begin to let it go. Let it go. Try seeing things through the eyes of a child, taking things one step at a time. Give yourself the gift of rediscovering joy. Your golden Buddha inside is cheering for you, right? It is calling you. It is pulling for you to break free, to break out of your limitations, to break out of your shell. Remember this from the wonderful poem Invictus. You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. And inside, you are pure gold. Happy 4th of July. Let's turn now to our meditation. Let's just take a moment to breathe in this beautiful energy of potential and possibilities. And as we release, really just let any cares or concerns drop away. Feeling Mother Earth supporting you. Breathing in once again. And letting go. We take a moment to appreciate that in this moment, all is well. That we are here together. We allow our minds to just scan over our life's journey, the joys, the sorrows, the triumphs and setbacks, to see that it's all good, but to also feel deep within us that we are more than our past. We are more than our present circumstances. We feel our own inner divinity calling us into greater expression. Let go. Let go of the old baggage, the worries and fears. That golden light in you wants to shine forth like never before. I invite you to breathe into the very center of your being, finding your inner sanctuary there. Allow yourself to open and listen to what your own inner Christ, your golden Buddha, is saying to you in the silence. We feel gratitude bubbling up within us as we appreciate our spiritual journey, the joy of sharing it with one another. We remain attuned to this inner wisdom as we go forth into our day, seeing through the eyes of love and wonder and appreciation, and knowing that great things are in store for each and every one of us. And for this knowing and this truth, we're so grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of